What is up, you beautiful people out there on the internet? It is I, Michael Shockman. Welcome back to the DM Shockman Institute for this week's episode of Season 2 of our D&D 5th Edition thing, this time on the races of D&D 5th Edition in the Player's Handbook. Thank you so much for joining me in today's episode. Stay tuned for this week's episode when we cover the elf in this week's edition of D&D 5th Edition Simplified. Really quick before we dive into things, please do me a really quick favor. It'll just take a second. Please smash the like button and hit the subscribe button. It helps out immensely with the algorithm on YouTube. Thank you so much. And in addition, please comment down below with what kind of elf are you? Are you a high elf? Are you a wood elf? Are you a Legolas? Are you a Celeborn? Or are you a drow edgy boy or girl? Leave a comment down below. With that little shilling out of the way, we're gonna dive right into our little snippet on the elf. So here we go. Okay, so first off, elves tend to be very graceful, tend to be very intellectual, very magically and archerily oriented and inclined. They're very good at archery. They're decent at some types of swordsmanship. Sometimes they can combine swordsmanship and magic. Key example being the Bladesinger Wizard. And I would highly recommend playing an elf if you want to play a very long-lived just a very long-lived, very intellectual kind of character. For their mechanics, elves standard across the board get a +2 to their dexterity. They also age. For their age, they although elves reach physical maturity at about the same age as humans, the elven understanding of adulthood goes beyond physical growth and encompasses worldly experience. An elf typically claims adulthood and an adult name at around the age of 100, and in 5th edition they can live to be 750 years old on average. Sometimes, depending on their background, they can live anywhere from like 1,500 years all the way up to like 15,000, depending on how things go. So that's interesting. Anyway, for their size, elves range from under 5 feet to over 6 feet tall and have slender builds. Your size is medium when you play an elf. Your base walking speed is 30 feet. You get dark vision, like the dwarf. They also get the same thing. You're accustomed to twilight forests and the night sky. You have superior vision in dark and dim conditions. You can see dim light out to 60 feet as if it were bright light, and you can see dark in darkness as if it were dim light. You can't see color, but you can only see in shades of gray. Okay, you also get keen senses, which means you have proficiency in the perception skill. You also get something called Fey Ancestry. You have advantage on saving throws against being charmed, and magic cannot put you to sleep. In addition, you also get something called trance. Elves do not need to sleep. Instead, they meditate deeply, remaining semi-conscious for 4 hours a day. The common word for such a meditation is a trance. While meditating, you can dream after a fashion. Such dreams are actually mental exercises that have become reflexive through years of practice. After resting in this way, you gain the same benefit that a human does after 8 hours of regular sleep. In addition, they also get a number of languages. They can speak and read and write Common and Elvish. Elvish is fluid and subtle, with subtle intonations and intricate grammar. Elven literature is rich and varied, and their songs and poems are famous among other races. Many bards learn the language so that they can add Elvish ballads to their repertoire. They have 3 sub-races. We will focus and we will cover those here right now. First, you have the High Elves. As a High Elf, you have a keen mind and a mastery of at least the basics of magic. In the worlds of D&D, there are 2 kinds of High Elves. One type, which includes the Grey Elves and the Valley Elves of Greyhawk, the Sylvanestry of Dragonlance, and the Sun Elves of the Forgotten Realms. And they are very haughty and reclusive, believing themselves to be superior to non-elves and even other elves. The other type, including the High Elves of Greyhawk, as well as the Qualinestry of Dragonlance and the Moon Elves of the Forgotten Realms, are more common and more friendly, and often encountered among humans and other races. The Sun Elves of Faerun, also called Gold Elves or Sunrise Elves, have bronze skin and hair of copper, black, or golden blonde. Their eyes are golden, silver, or black. Moon Elves, on the other hand, also called Silver Elves or Grey Elves, are much paler with alabaster skin, sometimes tinged with blue. They often have hair of silver white, black, or blue. But various shades of blonde, brown, and red are also not uncommon. Their eyes are generally blue or green and flecked with gold. High elves get in addition to their dexterity bonus of +2, they also get a subracial bonus of +1 to their intelligence. They also get elven weapon training, which gives them proficiency with long swords, short bows, and long bows. They also can get a racial cantrip, uh, which allows them to cast their choice of one cantrip from the wizard spell list, and intelligence is the spellcasting ability for it. They also get to learn one additional language. They can speak, read, and write one additional language of their choice. Next, we move on to the Wood Elves. These ones are a little bit shorter in their description. Wood Elves, as a Wood Elf, you have keen senses and intuition, and your fleet feet, say that 5 times fast, fleet feet, carry you quickly and stealthily through your native forest. The category includes the Wild Elves, or the Grugash of Greyhawk, and the Kaganesti of Dragonlance, as well as the races called Wood Elves and Greyhawk in the Forgotten Realms. In Faerun, Wood Elves, also called Wild Elves, Green Elves, or Forest Elves, are reclusive and distrusting of non-elves. How many times are we going to say the word elves? Wood elves, skin tends to be copperish in hue, sometimes with traces of green. Their hair tends toward browns and blacks, but it is occasionally blonde or copper colored. Their eyes are green, brown, or hazel. In addition, and for these guys, in addition to their +2 to dexterity, they also get a +1 to their wisdom. They also get the same training for elvish weapon training with proficiency with long sword, short bow, and longbow. They also get fleet of foot. Their base walking speed is now 35 feet per round, and they get Mask of the Wild. They can attempt to hide even when they are only slightly obscured by foliage, heavy rain, falling snow, mist, or other phenomena. And last but not least, we come to the edgy boys, the Dark Elves, or the Drow. Let's dive into them. So here's the little thing on them. As a drow, you are infused with the magic of the Underdark, an underground realm of wonders and horrors rarely seen on the surface above. You are at home in the shadows, and thanks to your innate magic, learn to conjure forth both light and darkness. Your kin tend to have stark white hair and grayish skin of many hues. The cult of the goddess Lulth, Queen of Spiders, has corrupted some of the oldest drow cities, especially in the worlds of Oerth and Toril. Eberron, Kryn, and other realms have escaped the cult's influence, for now anyway. Wherever the cult lurks, drow heroes stand on the front lines in the war against it, seeking to sunder Lulth's web. Trying to get free, I guess. And in addition to their +2 to their dexterity, these guys get a +1 to their charisma. They also get superior dark vision, which allows them to see up to 120 feet rather than 60 feet in dark vision. Same basic grayscale thing applies. They get sunlight sensitivity. They have a disadvantage on attack rolls and on wisdom/perception checks that rely on sight when the target of your attack or whatever you are trying to perceive is in direct sunlight. They also get something called Drow Magic. They know the Dancing Lights cantrip. When you reach third level, you can cast Fairy Fire spell. Bleh, once with this trait and regain the ability to do so when you finish a long rest. When you reach 5th level, you can cast the Darkness spell once once with this trait and regain the ability again when you finish a long rest. Charisma is your spellcasting ability for these spells. So whereas the High Elves get one cantrip from the Wizard spell list, and the Wood Elves get the ability to hide and camouflage themselves in like a weird ghillie suit. These guys just get free spells that they can use once per day or once per long rest at specific times during their level up, which is pretty cool. They also get different weapon training. They get drow weapon training, which means that they have proficiency with rapiers, short swords, and hand crossbows, which is very, very interesting. Anyway, that's going to about cover it for the elves today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Last little bit that I have to say about the elves before we sign off for today is that as an I'm a big fan of half elves, but I think that elves tend to be a little bit too frail for my thing. But I highly recommend them. They're great if you want to play like an archer or like a light fighter or a dex fighter with like a longsword or a rapier and a dagger. Highly recommend them for that. They also make great wizards, like holy crap. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Please do me a favor and check out the links down in the description. You know what they do, you know where they go, you know what to do. I'm Michael Shockman, I've been your host and commentator, and remember as always, guys, keep it real, keep it safe, keep it healthy, and we'll see you guys again soon in the Institute. Goodbye, guys.